Motor racing, today's most exciting sport, is now more popular than ever.
A new sport, midget auto racing on a bankboard track.
Start your engine.
There have been many stories in the automobile world. But this story is different. It is a story of bold decisions, cost-conscious engineering, and a remarkable outcome that reshaped the future of a car company. If you're a Porsche enthusiast, you're probably familiar with the fascinating story we are about to share: the history of Porsche Boxster. The 1990s were a tough time for Porsche. Sure, they had the incredible 959, a technological marvel, but it was a financial nightmare to produce. On top of that, a global recession had hit, and sports car sales were suffering. Porsche's manufacturing methods were far from modern and efficient, and their lineup was showing its age. The hard truth was sinking in. They couldn't continue making air-cooled sports cars forever. Around this pivotal period, Porsche assembled a forward-thinking engineering team, led by Helmut Flegel, a key figure behind the Le Mans-winning 917. Among his team was Grant Larson, a young American designer. As Larson later recalls, everything was super technical, whether it was related to suspension or emissions. I thought, we're all about cutting-edge design. Why don't we showcase all these innovations in a car? That car eventually took shape as the Porsche Boxster. This is the story of the Porsche Boxster, the origins of the car that breathed new life into Porsche, a car aptly described with the German term Ausgangsbasis, meaning a good starting point.
Also for the first time ever in any market outside Japan. And these are the machines that'll be setting the trends.
The story begins in October 1991 after a visit to the Tokyo Motor Show, where Porsche found itself in a precarious position. The 928 was struggling in terms of sales, and the incoming 968, a significant update of the 944, wasn't faring much better. In February 1992, Porsche initiated the development of a successor to the 928, which had received minor updates for 1992 and the recently launched 968. This was where the team led by Helmut Flegel came in. The vision was to create a lightweight roadster paying homage to Porsche legends like the 550 Spider and the 718 RSK, two iconic race cars. But Larson revealed that he began earnestly working on this project around 1991, though he had some sketches of a mid-engine roadster dating back to 1990. In reality, it was a car he'd been designing in his mind for most of his life up to that point. Every designer has their own handwriting, and as they call it, which they carry throughout their entire career, gradually refining it, he explained. Larson, a lifelong Porsche enthusiast, confessed that his design handwriting had been significantly influenced by the Porsche brand itself. Now here's where the story gets really interesting. Larson candidly reveals that his initial designs weren't created with a production car in mind. They were more like a spark of inspiration and a couple of mid-engine roadster sketches. However, Porsche was in a tight spot at the time. They hadn't introduced an entirely new car since the 928 back in 1977, and they were desperately in need of fresh products. These new cars had to be not only cheaper to manufacture, but also capable of higher sales volumes than their existing lineup. Porsche had toyed with the idea of the four-door front-engine 989 as a potential successor to the 928, but by 1991, they had second thoughts and scrapped the project out of concerns that it might not meet the sales expectations. Moreover,
I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here.
There was growing pressure within the company to maximize parts sharing among different models, and the 989 was planned to be quite unique. Then enter Horst Marchart, the head of research and development at Porsche at the time.
I have a brilliant, beyond brilliant idea.
He had a brilliant idea. Why not create two distinct cars from a single platform? He explained, the idea was to create an additional product line from the vehicle concept and components of a new 911. It was to be a two-seater with a front-end design reminiscent of the 911 to ensure it was unmistakably a Porsche. Furthermore, this new car had to be priced around 70,000 marks and attract a younger customer base. Marchart's proposal received the green light.
Let's hit the road.
And thus, the groundwork was laid for what would become the 996 generation 911 and the 986 Boxster production car. Production was still a few years away, but Porsche couldn't resist giving the world a tantalizing glimpse of what was on the horizon. Now, here's where things got a bit tricky. Larson recalls there was a bit of hesitation about the idea of creating a concept car. He explained, there was a little bit of hesitation towards that because as soon as you do a show car, basically, you show the world all your innovations. You're just giving out all your ideas. Whether you use them in the future or not, you're giving them out by showing them to the public. However, despite these concerns, Porsche's executives saw the value in taking the risk. You see, in 1992, Porsche was stuck in a bit of a rut. The only cars they were selling, while still good, were essentially products of a bygone era developed many decades earlier. There was a growing fear that the company might never introduce anything truly groundbreaking again. So they made the bold decision to transform Larson's sketches for a lightweight roadster into a concept car to be unveiled at the 1993 Geneva Motor Show.
I have to tell you, there was always a twist at the end.
But there was a twist in the tale. The premiere date was moved up by 3 months, bringing it to the Detroit Auto Show. Why? To garner more media attention in the crucial American market. Larson points out an interesting detail. That's why it doesn't have a roll bar. The Boxster was on its way to making waves in the automotive world, and it all began with this calculated gamble. Interestingly enough, Larson was working on this concept car, while other Porsche designers were separately developing the 986 and 996 models. At the time, the 986 didn't exactly resemble the show car. Larson's vision for the concept was to return to the racing legends of the 1950s and 1960s, lightweight, compact, with minimal concessions for everyday use. He explained, "We used the show car to demonstrate just how tight and compact the production car could be, but there's a limit to how far you can take that." However, there came a point where we started incorporating elements of the show car's styling into one of the 986 prototypes. Then something incredible happened after the Detroit Auto Show. The Boxster concept became an instant sensation. Larson recollects, "It was like a thunderclap. All right, halt all Boxster activities, and let's incorporate that theme onto the car." Now, the journey to turn the Boxster into a reality was no cakewalk. While the production 986 may bear a resemblance to the show car, it's notably larger. Porsche aimed to create a sports car that could be used daily, not just on the track. This meant increasing luggage compartments and interior space. Also, Porsche intended for the 986 and 996 to share as many components as possible, which naturally contributed to the Boxster's expansion in size. If you look at the front from the A-pillar forward, you'd be hard-pressed to spot the difference between a 986 Boxster and a 996 911 Carrera, with only slightly different bumpers to set them apart. Even the doors were shared between the two models. Now let's talk about a design element that raised eyebrows back in the day: the fried egg headlights. Believe it or not, these headlights were actually a clever cost-cutting measure. Each unit contained all the necessary lighting elements for the front of the car, which meant Porsche had to manufacture fewer individual pieces. Larson remembers, "We were cutting unbelievable corners with that car. It's put together so simply and effectively, and in some parts of the car, you'd wonder if it's a matter of relevance. It's like asking, what's truly important for the car's performance?"
Wait a minute.
Here's the funny twist, though. In a roundabout way, Larsen got the no-frills Porsche sports car he had envisioned because the company simply couldn't afford extravagances at the time. He points out that when it mattered most, in the powertrain and suspension, corners weren't cut. And this commitment to performance excellence shines through in the car's outstanding performance. While the Boxster and 911 have evolved over the years, Larsen believes that the cost-effective mindset that defined the 986 and 996 is still very much a part of Porsche's DNA. He states, "I think that cost-effectiveness, that cost-saving mentality, is still present. I believe it's a significant factor in why Porsche remains a profitable company. It's all about prioritizing what's essential for the car and the customer. Yes, corners may have been cut, but the Boxster proved to be the critical and commercial success that Porsche desperately needed. Many years after it first hit production, it's abundantly clear that the Boxster was the car that set Porsche on the path to becoming the iconic automaker it is today. And here's the remarkable thing, that original Boxster design has aged gracefully." Larsen reveals, "With the show car design, I was always concerned that it might look too trendy and then become outdated after 3 or 4 years. So, we took great care to imbue certain aspects of the car with a timeless quality. We wanted something that would still look appealing 10 years down the road without feeling stuck in a particular era, like it's so 90s or something."
So, Grant, where did it all start?
Well, there's no better person to ask than Harm Lagaay himself. Hi, Harm.
Hey.
Yeah, where it all started is a long story. In 1992, we had already started working on the 986 and the 996. And we were looking for something new. We were looking for a new design theme. So the idea of coming up with a show car was slowly starting to become reality.
Credit for this timelessness is due to Porsche's design chief at the time, Harm Lagaay, and, to a lesser extent, Butzi Porsche, the original designer of the iconic 911. Larsen fondly recalls Butzi's input, noting that it was always highly functional, even if he wasn't particularly fond of the Boxster's tail lamps. Under the hood, all 986 and 987 Boxsters featured the M96 engine, a water-cooled, horizontally opposed, flat, 6-cylinder engine. This marked Porsche's first foray into water-cooled engines not placed in the front of the car. In the Boxster, the engine was positioned in a mid-engine layout, while the 911 continued to embrace the classic rear-engine setup. This mid-engine placement contributed to a low center of gravity, an almost perfect weight distribution, and exceptional handling characteristics. However, the M96 engines faced some issues, including cracked or slipped cylinder liners. These problems were addressed through a minor redesign and improvements in the casting process in late 1999. Another challenge was the occurrence of porous engine blocks, which caused coolant and oil systems to mix fluids. Porsche addressed this by boring out the cast sleeves on the cylinders, where defects were observed during production, and inserting new sleeves instead of scrapping the entire engine block. Typically, cylinder walls are cast simultaneously with the rest of the engine, which explains the need for this casting technology. In 2002, the model received a minor facelift. Notable changes included replacing the plastic rear window with a smaller glass window, introducing a glove compartment, implementing a new electromechanical hood and trunk release mechanism, with an electronic emergency release in the fuse box panel, and updating the steering wheel. Porsche also made adjustments to the exhaust pipe and air intake. Exterior changes included replacing the front headlights' amber indicators with clear ones, altering the rear light cluster with translucent gray turn signals, replacing the amber ones, and changing the side marker lights on the front wings from amber to clear. The bumpers were also tweaked to give the car a more defined and chiseled appearance, and new wheel designs were introduced. This first-generation Boxster left an indelible mark on Porsche's history, and its design and engineering innovations set the stage for the brand's continued success in the years to come.
Interesting new cars being debuted. You could have one for every day of the month. But this year's Paris Motor Show opened with a get-down-to-business attitude.
Second generation of the Porsche Boxster, which made its debut at the 2004 Paris Motor Show alongside the 997 911 and became available for sale in 2005. The updated styling of the second-generation Boxster included modifications to the headlights, larger side intake vents, and enlarged wheel arches that allowed for wheels as large as 19 inches in diameter. Inside the cabin, you'll notice a more prominent circular theme for the instrument cluster and cooling vents. The base engine for this generation was a 2.7-liter flat-six Boxer engine producing 239 horsepower, while the Boxster S got a 3.2-liter engine with 276 horsepower. In 2007, the base Boxster received an upgraded engine featuring VarioCam Plus, and the Boxster S's engine grew to 3.4 liters, bringing the power of both the Boxster and Cayman series to an equivalent level. The 987th generation marked the last of the Boxster series to feature hydraulic steering. Around the same time, in late 2005, Porsche unveiled the Cayman S Fastback Coupe 987C, which shared its mid-engine platform and many components with the second-generation Boxster Roadster. These shared components included the front fenders, trunk lid, doors, headlights, taillights, and the forward portion of the interior. Styling cues from the 356/1, the 550 Coupe, and the 904 Coupe were incorporated into the design. The Cayman's hatchback design provided access to luggage areas both on top of and behind the engine cover, while the suspension design was fundamentally the same as that of the Boxster. The Cayman's chassis was stiffer due to its fixed roof. In 2008, the Boxster and Boxster S models received a facelift. These changes included an increase in engine displacement to 2.9 liters for the Boxster and the incorporation of direct fuel injection DFI for the Boxster S. Both models now came standard with a new 6-speed manual gearbox and were available with a 7-speed Porsche Doppelkupplungsgetriebe (PDK) dual-clutch gearbox. Cosmetic updates featured new head and tail lights, larger front air intakes with integrated daytime running lights, and a modified lower rear end flanked by twin diffusers. Up next,
busy day at the 2012 Geneva Motor Show uncovered a showroom full of new models and a stylish look into the global automotive future.
The third-generation Porsche Boxster, internally known as the 981, was officially unveiled on March 13, 2012 at the Geneva Motor Show, with sales commencing in early summer 2012. The 981 Boxster embraced Porsche's new design language, drawing inspiration from the 911, 991, and the 918 Spider, and introduced new and revised engine and transmission specifications. The standard Boxster was equipped with a new 2.7-liter flat-six engine, while the Boxster S retained the 3.4-liter engine but received revised performance enhancements. Both engines could be paired with either a 6-speed manual gearbox or an optional 7-speed reworked PDK dual-clutch transmission. Porsche offered several technical options for both manual and automatic models, including Porsche Torque Vectoring, PTV, and a Sport Chrono package, which featured active transmission mounts and further improved the performance of PDK-equipped models. Porsche claimed that this new generation Boxster achieved a 15% improvement in fuel efficiency compared to its predecessor. In March 2014, the Boxster range was expanded with the introduction of the GTS derivative. This model featured slight alterations to the front and rear bumpers and an additional 11 kilowatts, 15 horsepower, 15 PS from the 3.4-liter engine, enhancing its performance.
So these were 25 years of action in the Boxster. I'm really looking forward to the next 25 years.
It's going to be exciting, I'm sure.
In conclusion, the history of the Porsche Boxster is a remarkable journey through automotive innovation and design excellence. From its inception as a concept car to its evolution through 3 generations, the Boxster has remained a symbol of Porsche's commitment to performance, precision, and driving pleasure.